Hi, I'm here with Eaglet, and we're going to read you the book Frog and Toad Are Friends. This is a chapter book, so we'll be reading the first chapter. This book is by Arnold Lobel, and the book Frog and Toad Are Friends is just one of several Frog and Toad books, but it's the first one he wrote, and it was published in the year that I was born. So it's very special to me because we're the same age. Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. Here's the title page. And here's the table of contents. And Frog and Toad is a special kind of chapter book because each chapter is kind of like its own story. They all have the same characters, but in each chapter, the characters have a problem, and the problem gets a little worse, and then they solve the problem. So each chapter can go all by itself. It's its own story. Okay, and we're going to read the first chapter called Spring. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. He knocked on the front door. There was no answer. "Toad! Toad!" shouted Frog. "Wake up! It is spring!" "Blah!" said a voice from inside the house. "Toad! Toad!" cried Frog. "The sun is shining. The snow is melting. Wake up!" "I am not here," said the voice. There's Frog knocking on Toad's door. But Toad is saying, "I am not here." Frog walked into the house. It was dark. All the shutters were closed. Shutters are something that go on windows to be able to close them off. They're usually made of wood, and they can close over windows. All the shutters were closed in Toad's house. "Toad, where are you?" called Frog. "Go away," said the voice from a corner of the room. Toad was lying in bed. Now I want to show you. Here's a picture of Frog calling to Toad inside the house. But here's Toad in his bed with the covers pulled all the way up over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of bed. He pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. "Help!" said Toad. "I cannot see anything." Has that ever happened to you when you go outside from a dark house and everything's really bright? It's kind of hard to see. "Don't be silly," said Frog. "What you see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad. Think of it," said Frog. "We will skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim in the river. In the evenings, we will sit right here on this front porch and count the stars." "You can count them, Frog," said Toad. "I will be too tired. I am going back to bed." There they are. My goodness. Frog looks so excited and Toad looks so sleepy. Do you see him in his pajamas? Toad went back into the house. He got into the bed and pulled the covers over his head again. "But Toad," cried Frog, "you will miss all the fun." "Listen, Frog," said Toad. "How long have I been asleep?" "You have been asleep since November," said Frog. "Well then," said Toad, "a little more sleep will not hurt me. Come back again and wake me up at about 1/2 May. Good night, Frog." Oh my goodness. Toad's been asleep for November, December, January, February, and March. Now it's April. Toad's been asleep for about 6 months, And he's saying, let me sleep for another month. Wow. Here's the picture. Frog. And oh, can you see Toad's shape under the covers? He wants to sleep for another month. But Toad, said Frog, I will be lonely until then. Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. Oh my goodness. Do you see how that page says November? And Frog is going to take it off. He tore off the December page and the January page and the February page and the March page. He came to the April page. Frog tore off the April page too. Frog is being very tricky because remember, it's April right now in this story, but he's tearing off the April page to show that April is over. Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. Toad, Toad, wake up. It is May now. He's tricking Toad. What? Said Toad. Can it be May so soon? Yes, said Frog. Look at your calendar. Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. Why, it is May, said Toad as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in the spring. Oh my goodness. Well, Frog really tricked Toad. And maybe that wasn't very nice, but on the other hand, now Toad is outside having a fun time with Frog. So maybe it's a good thing. What do you think? Was it a good thing that Frog tricked Toad into getting out of bed? What would you have done? We'll see you next time for a new chapter of Frog and Toad Are Friends.